the movie's out. It's being received really well, and you're here in your studio right now working on something. Can you tell us about what's going on now?
We ended up selling the concept of the film as a half-hour comedy show to NBC. So we are now developing a half-hour, like a global workplace comedy for NBC. We are still in the stage of writing the pilot, and the hope is that we write the pilot and then they want to produce it and go to series with it. But it'll still be several months before we know if that's going to happen. But fingers crossed.
Will you be directing the series?
I would be a lead writer and executive producer along with my co-writer George Wing, and we have a guy named Ken Kwapis lined up to direct the pilot. He directed the pilot for the Office TV show, and he's done Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and he's got a new movie coming out called He's Just Not That Into You. And so he would be set up to direct the pilot, and then the idea would hopefully I'd be directing some of the episodes.
Okay.
But it'd essentially be my show, mine and George's show, created by us. We'd be the lead writers and the executive producers, so it'd be pretty exciting.
Did you, when you got the opportunity with NBC, did you do the classic situation where you came in with like 4 or 5 ideas just in case this one didn't fly?
No, actually, this is very specifically set up to pitch the concept of developing the movie into a TV show. And Ken Kwapis can't come to us specifically because he was one of these directors who had actually been lined up to direct the movie and didn't get to when I directed it. But then he saw the movie and called us and said, "Look, I think you guys have a great potential TV show here. We want to pitch it with me." And so we created this team to go, and we actually pitched to all the major networks, and we had CBS, NBC, and Fox all bidding for it. So it was a really great situation.
Nice.
And NBC had the best deal, and so it's been great working with them so far, and we hope that we have a series on our hand.
Awesome.
Another opportunity to develop some really wonderful world music into this.
There you go.
The global workplace comedy, and really kind of mix all the cultures together. It should be real fun.
Hopefully you won't have, we'll cut that part. What about your Bollywood documentary?
Yeah, it's the Bollywood documentary has taken an interesting path, and originally it all started was me just being frustrated not knowing how to get my financing for a feature, and the one thing I had been successful doing was getting funding for documentary work. And so I knew I wanted to go to India, I knew I wanted to direct something, and so I had this idea about doing this Bollywood doc. And when I got the money, it was I really didn't know what I was going to be doing, whether it was a documentary, but in the back of my head, it was a chance for me to start doing research to try to figure out how to make a film in India. And so in a way, the documentary has already served its purpose in getting me the job to direct Outsourced. But at the same time, I've also got now about 50 hours of fantastic footage, interviews with choreographers, directors, producers, actors, fans, and all this B-roll footage all of India. And I've created a trailer and other things, but it's about finding the time and the finances. The thing was, eventually I was interviewing Bollywood film people, but then also there's an interesting area where there's like these C-grade films, which are the really cheap Indian indie films, which are made on such a small budget. And some of these characters who make these films, and they send them out to the regional cinemas in the rural areas. They're just awful, awful movies. But the guys who make them are real characters. And one guy wanted to cast me as a hero in one of the films because I was as tall as Amitabh Bachchan, who's like the biggest star of Indian cinema. And so I thought, okay, this could be really interesting to be cast in one of these C-grade films and do the process. And so we were actually going to go ahead and do that, and then the guy disappeared and we couldn't find him and it was really sketchy, and then Outsourced happened. So I need to rework and rethink what's going to happen. But yeah, I still, there's still a possibility of me going back and starring in a C-grade Hindi film.
That would be amazing.
So, I mean, the idea also is wait till Outsourced releases in India, and then there'll be a little more name recognition for me to go back and actually have more doors open to interviews. Because when I went back there before, I was the guy, not even from LA, I was from Seattle, trying to interview people in the industry for my documentary. But I think once I have a film that releases in India, it's going to be a whole different scenario. So I've just sort of put that documentary on hold until the movie releases there.
Perfect. John, congratulations and thank you.
Thanks. Well, I should also say that we are selling the DVD exclusively on our website right now. You can buy it on our website, outsourcethemovie.com, and all that money is basically going to Shadowcatcher directly as a way to try to make our money back. Okay. And then it will eventually be released on Netflix and Blockbuster and everything for everyone to rent. But right now it's only on our website.
Perfect. Thanks.
As is the soundtrack. I had to get the plug in.
Absolutely.